It happened when I was in college, during one of the most stressful times in our family's life. My younger sister had been hospitalized for over a week. She was in and out of fevers, and my mom and I took turns caring for her, switching shifts so one of us was always by her side. The hospital she was admitted to was one of the oldest in the city, sturdy, functional, and always overcrowded. It had this strange mix of constant movement and eerie stillness, like the building was alive, but never sleeping. Our room was on the 4th floor. That night, around 10 p.m., my mom tapped me on the shoulder and asked me to grab some food from downstairs. I was exhausted, but agreed. When I opened the door to the hallway, I was met by silence. A strange, almost too still silence. The lights in the corridor were dimmed, flickering just slightly. I felt a chill roll down the hallway, which made no sense. It was humid outside. But here on the 4th floor, it felt wrong. I walked toward the elevator, hearing only the soft creak of the floor beneath my shoes. As I approached, the elevator dinged and the doors slid open slowly. Standing right there in front of me was a little girl. She looked about 6 or 7 years old, wearing a lavender shirt and a plain white skirt. On her wrist was a hospital band. Her hair was neatly tied, her feet bare. She didn't say anything, just stepped out of the elevator slowly, her head tilted just slightly, watching me. I assumed she must have been the child of one of the patients. Maybe she got bored and wandered out of a room. It wasn't ideal, but I wasn't alarmed. Not yet. I stepped into the elevator and pressed the button for the ground floor. As the doors closed, I glanced up, and she was still standing there, facing me, watching me. Her eyes followed the closing gap between the doors without blinking. The elevator ride lasted maybe 5 to 10 seconds. Quick, uneventful. Or so I thought, because as the doors opened onto the ground floor, she was there. She was waiting for me. I froze. There was no way, absolutely no way she could have gotten down that fast. The elevator hadn't stopped. No stairs, no separate lift, and I didn't hear any footsteps running or rushing. She was just standing there. The same lavender shirt, the same skirt, the same hospital band. Her face, emotionless, her eyes locked on mine. She didn't move as I stepped out. We were barely a foot apart. I could hear my own breathing. I kept my eyes down and slowly walked around her like she was a wild animal I didn't want to provoke. She stepped into the elevator behind me as I passed, never taking her eyes off me. I didn't run. Not at first. But once I felt enough distance between us, I picked up my pace, half walking, half jogging toward the hospital exit. The fluorescent lights felt too bright, too artificial, like they were trying to cover something that didn't want to be seen. Outside, I walked straight to the nearest 7-Eleven. My heart was pounding in my ears. I paused near the refrigerator section, gripping a bottle of water, and stared blankly for a moment. I was trying to understand what just happened. A twin? A prank? A hallucination? I stood there for several minutes, just breathing, trying to ground myself. I never saw that girl again, but every time I take an elevator alone now, I hesitate, because part of me is still afraid the doors will open and she'll be waiting for me. Again.